From Anshei Sphard-Beth Emeth congregation, it's time to take 10 minutes for Torah with Rabbi Joel Finkelstein.
Welcome to our discussion of Parshat Tavo, positivity. Notice the interesting thing about Rashi. Rashi has this wonderful midrash, and it's kind of misplaced. The midrash is that when the Jews would come to bring the bikurim, the first fruits, so then after they brought the first fruits, and they thanked God, and they brought the first fruits, and they bowed down to God, and they told the whole story of the Exodus from Egypt and how they have come to this land of Israel in such a thankful way, a bat kol, a voice, a heavenly echo, comes forth from heaven and says, it gives them a blessing. It says, Haveta bikurim hayom tishne l'shana haba. You today have brought your bikurim, your first fruits, and you've given thanks and praise, and you've bowed down to God. So may you repeat again next year. It's a special blessing for those who bring their bikurim, their first fruits. So you would expect that this Rashi would be found toward the end of the section about bikurim. No. After bikurim, after the section about the first fruits, then there's a section about a person coming to the Beis HaMikdash, the Holy Temple, and admitting, declaring that they have given all that they should give to the Beit HaMikdash, the Meiser and the Truma, and all the different things they're supposed to give. And then the Torah says that this day God commands you to do all these commandments. You should keep them with all of your heart, and you will keep them with all your heart. So that Rashi says, you will keep them. How do you know you're going to keep them? Well, why does it have to say you will keep them? It says, I'm telling you to do these mitzvot. How many times do we have to say in this book that you should keep the mitzvot? So Rashi says, it's not saying that thou shall keep them. It says you will keep them. Because if you do the bikurim, mentioned a few verses ago, then you will be blessed that next year you'll do it again. You do the mitzvot, you'll do the mitzvot again. Mitzvah gorer mitzvah. One mitzvah leads to another. You do it this time, you'll do it next time, God willing. The question is, what's that doing over here? We already talked about bikurim. We're done with bikurim. So most people read the parsha like this. This is how the Ramban reads it. There's a section about bikurim, firstborn, first fruits. Then there's a section about vidui maaser, that a person should declare every 3 years that they've done all they should in tithing their various fruits. And then, now we're done with all the mitzvot. We discussed the mitzvot in Parshat Re'eh, Parshat Shoftim, Parshat Kitetse in great length, 74 mitzvot. And now we had 2 mitzvot at the beginning of this parsha. And now we're done with the mitzvot. We're now getting ready. We're going into concluding the book of Devarim section. And we're going to have a covenant about all these mitzvot. And there's very flowery language here about the mitzvot in general. That today God's commanding you this. Today God has chosen you. Hamarta, he has engaged you, he's betrothed you today. That's the Rav Haigon. Rashi says today he made you glorious. Rashbam says today you agreed to be a people. Rav Yosef Achor Shor says that today you exchange other gods for this God, and therefore God will reciprocate. He will do the same thing for you. He'll choose you. He will betroth you. Beautiful language. He'll make you above all the nations of the world for great glory, to be a holy nation, just as he promised. So flowery language. What's this flowery language? According to Ramban Nachmanides, it's a summary of all the mitzvot. Now that we've concluded all the mitzvot, he says, if you do all this stuff, all of it, then you will be blessed with being the holiest in the whole world. However, Rashi and a number of other commentaries say that no, this is not flowery language about the entire Torah. It's about these 2 mitzvot in this parsha. It's specifically about the bikurim, the first fruits, and about the vidui maaser, the declaration that you've done all that you need to do. So Rashi finds a discussion of first fruits in this section, in this part that's talking about these beautiful blessings. The Chizkuni similarly, he says, you should keep these laws. You know which laws? You know which laws these flowery, beautiful blessings are talking about? These two laws, Bikurim and Vidui Maser, the declaration and the first fruits. The Orach Chaim also says that it's all about the Bikurim. So, in light of that, we read the story like this. You bring Bikurim, you give thanksgiving to God that, thank God, you live in Israel, you have some fruits, you brought them to God, you bow down, and then God says, wow, you did that. On this day, I commanded you these commandments of the Bikurim, and you did it this year, you should do it again next year. And now God has lifted you up, He'emarta. So what does it mean, God He'emarta? You spoke about God, and God will speak about you. So again, the Rashi and the Ibn Ezra, all kinds of interpretations. What does it mean that God spoke? He'emarta. They say, no, maybe it refers to the Amir in Arabic. The Amir is some sort of a leader. So no, you raise God up, God raises you up. Based on what we're saying perhaps we could suggest a new interpretation. At Hashem He'emarta, you've spoken about God. It's a simple word. I believe the Shadal who says He'emarta. I think it's Ibn Kaspi. He says He'emarta means Amar. You spoke about God. When? With the first fruits, when you gave a declaration about how thankful you are to have come out of Egypt and to have seen all the miracles and to have been brought to this land and given a piece of land where you could have some fruit. He'emarta, you've spoken about God. When you declare that you did all that you should do with the tithing of the various fruits. And now Hashem Hem Yircha Hayom, God spoke about you. You know what he said? He said, you should be a great treasure of all the nations. You will be above all the nations in holiness and glory. That's what it's talking about. This parsha is all about the first fruits. And why specifically first fruits? That the Ma'or Vashemesh, Rav Kalman Klonim Epstein, a Hasidic Rabbi, asked the question, why is all these beautiful blessings specifically for the first fruits? So it's all about positivity. If you look at the thanksgiving that the farmer says when he comes to bring his first fruits, we don't know what kind of fruits he has. He might be rich, he might be poor. He might have a golden basket, as the rabbis say. He might have a straw basket. He comes with these first fruits. They may be rotten tomatoes, and they may be beautiful, whatever they are. He can only bring what grew in the tree that year. And he comes, of course, not tomatoes, the 7 species of Israel, figs, dates, pomegranates, all these things. He comes with these fruits, beautiful or not beautiful. And all he can think of is he was once a slave in Egypt. His grandfather, Abraham or Yaakov, was roaming around, persecuted. But Yaakov didn't just complain. Yaakov went down to Egypt. The Jews were taken out of Egypt, and there's no complaint at all. This is pure thanksgiving. It's pure positivity. I realize that I come from wandering. I realize I come from slavery, much worse than the situation today. And today, I have fruits. I'm a farmer in my land flowing with milk and honey. It's just pure positivity. And God says, beautiful. Despite the troubles you have, and every individual suffers, the Ma'or Vashemesh says that's the way it is. In life, there's always challenges. People have tremendous burdens on their minds all the time. And yet, you, the farmer, you didn't come and complain. You didn't even come and pray to solve your problems. You came and you bowed down to God. You brought your fruits, whatever they are, your rotten figs, and you brought them and you gave thanks to God that you have some fruit, that you live in Israel, that you were blessed to be able to come to Jerusalem and see the Kohanim and the Leviim and the Israelites praying and worshiping and giving. Hashem says, you did that. I'm going to lift you up. I'm going to lift you up. Now, I could complain too, says God. I could say about, you did this sin and that sin. But you know what? You brought the Bikurim, you gave these gifts. You went in my ways. You provided for the orphan and the widow and the Levite and the Kohen and those who don't have, the underprivileged. You understood the lesson of Yetziat Mitzrayim, of going out of Egypt. We went out of Egypt for a purpose. We were in Egypt for a purpose, to appreciate the underdog, the downtrodden, the bereft, those who are underprivileged, those who are vulnerable. You get it, you got it. So I get you too. You maintain a total positivity, I have a positivity too. To put you up on the pedestal of among all the nations. L'tila, for praise. L'shem multifard, for great glory. And for splendor. And to be a holy nation as you were commanded. This is not simply beautiful blessings for keeping the whole Torah. This section is specifically speaking about the Bikurim. The beautiful Bikurim, this beautiful ceremony where a Jew, despite whatever's going on in his or her life, Jew maintains that positivity. For that positivity, God says, I'm going to be positive too. I'm going to bless you. And as we ask God, when we make that declaration, Hashkifa Mon Kajacha, there is a prayer that the one who makes the declaration says, it's found in this section, God, you should look from your heavenly storage house and you should bless the Jewish people and this land that you've given us, just like you've sworn to our ancestors, a land flowing with milk and honey. God says, indeed, we can do this. Our job is to maintain positivity. Yes, we need to pray, sometimes to pour out our hearts, to call out to God, to cry for the different things that we need in our lives. We have a right, we have a responsibility, a mitzvah, to pray to God for these things. But there is a time for positivity, a time to focus on the blessings we have. And God says, if you can do that, on Shabbos, on Rosh Hashanah, on a Yantif, on a Sukkos, on a quiet night one day, if you can do that, I can lift you up as well, and I will bless you and grant you holiness and glory. Thank you for joining us here for our discussion of Parshat Ki Tavo. Join us each week for our discussion of the Parsha and the various holidays, upcoming holidays as well. Thanks to Jason Lefkowitz, our producer. Thank you.
This has been 10 Minutes for Torah with Rabbi Joel Finkelstein. To learn more, visit asb.org.